Ideas. They're born when two separate things come together to form something new. Incredible, fun, even magical. And the results? Well, the results can change the world. Like this crazy idea 20 years ago. What if we brought together software and the internet, business and philanthropy, companies and customers? These ideas are why we're here today, as one powerful community. And yet our future is brighter than our past. Our dreams are bigger. Our impact stronger. Our potential limitless. Just imagine what we can bring together. Let's bring dreamers and doers together. Learners and leaders. Coders and closers. Trailhead and Trailblazers. Astro, Cody, Cloudy, and Einstein. You and your future. Let's bring companies and customers together. How about the right message to the right person at the right time? Let's bring customer and 360 together. Salesforce and Tableau. AI and OMG. CRM and... What about retailers and shoppers, hospitals and patients, insurance and reassurance, small business and big dreams? Let's bring trust, customer success, innovation, and equality together. Equal work and equal pay, shareholders and stakeholders, C-level and C-level. Doing well and doing good. Together, we can make the world a better place because business is the greatest platform for change. We just need to let our ideas come together.
Please welcome to the stage President and Chief Engineering Officer at Salesforce, Srinivas Tallapragada.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to TrailheaDX, our first developer conference in India. I'm so excited to be here. We have a great session today. We are going to show, this is a developer conference, so we're going to show amazing technology that my team has built. And what we are going to tell you today is how you can bring continuous innovation to your companies, to your communities, using the Customer 360 platform. We're going to show you how you can build amazing experiences, how you can connect every device, data store, and app, and how you can manage your application life cycles so you can deliver continuous innovation. This is also a place we are going to celebrate the community. This community has been amazing, as we have seen in some of the pre-show interviews, and we're going to celebrate them. But this is a developer conference, so we are going to open the hood, we're going to do a lot of demos, we're going to write a lot of code, and generally have fun. But before we go into the detail, I'd like to show a little bit about what we have planned for you in this conference. It's an amazing conference, two days, jam-packed with content and technology. You have sessions on AI and blockchain and APIs. If you're a Salesforce developer trying to become an entrepreneur, we have a session for you tomorrow at 2 o'clock. Strongly request you to attend that. We also have a luminary keynote with Saina Nehwal tomorrow afternoon. That's going to be cool. And all in all, we have more than 180 sessions today and tomorrow, and we expect you to attend every one of them. But before we start going in, we know all of you are Trailblazers. And who is a Trailblazer? You're all innovators. You are changing your careers with using the Salesforce platform. But most importantly, you are creating a huge impact, working for the good of the common society. And that's what we want to celebrate. So as we do that, we want to thank you. We want to thank each and every one of you. We want to thank our customers. We want to thank our partners. We want to thank the event staff. And I want to thank all the Salesforce employees who have come in all over the world to put together this show for you. And I also want to thank one special person who has been the inspiration and whose passion has created this event. That's Kevindra Patel. Kevindra. I also want to take a little bit of time to explain why we do what we do. We do a lot of great technology, but what is the why? Why we do what we do? Salesforce is a very strong, values-driven culture. We strongly believe values create value. There are 4 core values that Salesforce has. 1, trust. 2, customer success. 3, innovation. 4, equality. What is trust? Nothing is more important to us than the trust of our customers, partners, and employees. Trust means that you can assume that your data is safe and secure with us. We are secure by default, highest availability, and you can run your business on us. Customer success. From beginning, Salesforce has been one of the companies who's invested heavily both in people and programs so that each and every one of our customers is successful. Innovation. We continuously are at the cutting edge. We keep bringing innovation for you, make it easily consumable, and bring you along the journey so that if you invest in the Salesforce platform, you're not left behind. One thing some of this audience, not everybody may know, I want to highlight is we do 3 major releases a year and hundreds of minor releases. And it's important to know that all upgrades are automatic. You are never behind 10 releases on the Salesforce platform. You're always on the latest platform, and that's what we do for you. And the last is equality. This is near and dear to my heart. We saw a lot of great stories today. For us, equality for me is, we believe strongly that every human being, irrespective of gender, race, religion, orientation, socioeconomic status, has to have an equal opportunity in life. And that's what the platform gives you. That's what the community is all about. And that's what we do. Who would have thought? We are an enterprise software company. Who would have thought an enterprise software company in a technology conference talks about values? Back then, 20 years back, when we started the company, we pioneered the 1-1-1 model. What is the 1-1-1 model? We said we are going to give 1% of our time, 1% of our equity, and 1% of our product back to the community in every community we live in and work in. What did it mean? It means over time, we gave more than 4.5 million volunteer hours globally. Just in India alone, the community together, both Salesforce and the partners, have given already 115,000 hours, and we're just getting started. We gave more than $300 million of grants globally. We're just starting in India. We are already almost at $830,000, and we're going to increase that. We have more than 45K products, global nonprofit partners using our platform. India alone, we have 150 nonprofits. And there are a lot of companies who have taken the Salesforce pledge. We have more than 9,000 companies globally who have taken the Salesforce pledge, the 1% pledge, and do the same 1-1-1 model in their communities and for their companies. We have more than 300 companies who are doing the same thing. Salesforce is a global citizen, global corporate citizen. What we said is, let's take it broader. So we also strongly believe that business is the greatest platform for change. So we signed up for the UN Sustainability Goals. The UN Sustainability Development Goals, for those of you who don't know about it, there are about 17 goals in key areas like education, poverty, climate action, gender equality, and things like that. And the UN has said there are 10, over the next 10 years, we want to make significant improvement in each of these areas. What we, Salesforce, as a global citizen, we have signed up for all the 17 goals. So I strongly advise all of you, we have a session, we have a campground. In the campground, we have a place where we're going to show you what these goals are. I would strongly request all of you to go try it out and sign up for whatever is your passion. Pick 1 or 2 or many sustainable goals. We can all change the world together. So we strongly believe, as part of Salesforce, we can do well and do good together. This is what drives Salesforce. This is what drives me every day in my job. And this is what allows us to be a leader in innovation, a leader in philanthropy, and a leader in culture. And this also shows us that why we have got more than $13 billion in revenue and growing like that. That's what our customers see in us. And thank you for this community for supporting us in this journey. Now, I also want to take, because we're in India, I want to talk about India community itself and the Trailblazer community itself. You know, Trailblazers are people who are using our Trailhead, our learning platforms, who are creating community groups and jointly coming to the platform. And we have more than 1,300 plus community groups. We have more than 200 Salesforce MVPs. And we have, actually, it's an interesting fact, again, and we talk about equality, the developer ecosystem, there is a range of skills who we consider as developer on Salesforce platform. We have very pro-code developers, where you can do very fancy stuff, but there's a lot of entry areas too. It's a continuum, you can come in. So it's very interesting on Trailhead, we noticed that more than 1 million of you in India have taken Trailhead, they're learning by themselves, they're earning badges, and trying to get into the economy. They're trying to change their careers, their communities, their companies, and their industries. That's amazing. What it also says is about the Salesforce economy. IDC has predicted that in the next 5 years, there are going to be about 4.2 million jobs created, direct jobs created by the Salesforce economy, and the global impact is $1.2 trillion. India alone, we expect more than 5 lakh jobs created, direct jobs created by the Salesforce economy, and we're going to contribute more than 4 lakh crores to the Indian economy. So this is all going to happen with you. And coming to think of India, I also want to talk about our growth in India. 2 years back, we launched the Innovation Center in Hyderabad. And we are building a lot of products there. We are building end-to-end products on industries, on our multi-tenant kernel. We have the industries team here. Jujar, I see Jujar in the crowd here. We're building end-to-end in India. We have Steven Tam here, who runs our kernel, our multi-tenant kernel. There's a lot of code written by him on the platform, so if you have any issues, this is the guy to catch. And we also have business technology teams here in India. And we run a 24/7 call center. But what I'm most proud of is our global partner ecosystem. We have more than 30% of our global partners. They're all building multi-billion-dollar practices, and we have more than 25,000 certified partners in India. Companies like Accenture, Cognizant, Deloitte, Wipro have been great partners to us, and a big hand to them. I'm also very excited to expand our commitment to India. Yesterday, I was talking to the partners, and they were saying, the business is growing so much, we still need more people. So what we have done is we decided to expand our commitment to India, and in partnership with the central government and state governments in Kerala and Telangana, we are signed up to train more than 2 lakh students in India by 2022 on the Salesforce ecosystem. And we're just starting. We are going to work with a lot more state governments and try to increase this ecosystem. Like I said at the start of the keynote, today we're going to show you a lot of technology, but we also want to celebrate the community here, people who have been trailblazers. And to explain a little bit about that, I would like to invite Surbhi Narula, who is a trailblazer. Surbhi, please come on the stage. Thank you, Surbhi, for being here at TrailheaDX.
Thank you so much, Srini, for bringing TrailheaDX to India.
I know you have a very inspiring story. Can you please share it with us?
For sure. So, my journey starts with Jaipur, where I was born and brought up, and my family believes in freedom. So, me and my sister got all the freedom to choose and to do whatever we want to do in our life. Well, my parents has struggled a lot to give me and my sister this lifestyle that we are living right now. My inspiration, my idol, I should say, is my mom. who has worked really hard, and she really wanted to give back to society by educating kids. Well, that was the motive that she started with, and she set up a school for that. And initially, it was very tough for the families to convince the families to bring their kids to school and let them study. But when they realized the importance of education, after then we just saw that hundreds of kids were there around under one roof, and my mom and the staff were teaching them all along. And from there, my mom was actually living the dream of her life. But after a few years, she fell very ill. And the whole family was devastated because of that. And there and then, we had to take that tough decision in our life that we need to shut that school down. Well, I was in second year of my college by then. But when I was in fourth year, I got placed from my college. This platform was the blessing for me that I got when I got placed from my college. And I got to know about this wonderful community, this Trailblazer community, by my mentor, Vinay Chaturvedi, who actually make me realize that Salesforce is all about to give back to people. The same belief that my mom used to have, and the same belief that Salesforce comes up over here. Then, after that, I initiated a campaign, Salesforce She for Her, wherein a woman who is working in Salesforce mentors a girl student or any girl who would like to be a part of Salesforce, who would like to learn Salesforce and be a trailblazer. So from there, the journey of Salesforce She for Her started. And after a year of hard work, I should say, we got few girls placed in very good companies. And after that, I realized that I was living my mom's dream back from there. This initiative, has given me that dream that my mom used to have, and she's really proud to see that the inspiration I got from my mom is actually changing lives, is actually making a difference, creating a difference over here. I would like to say thank you to my parents, of course, and to Salesforce, who has honored me, who has given me this platform where I can actually give back to people, where I can actually change lives of women. And I would like to say thank to my Noida family, Vinay, Akash, Preetam, Payal, who have been supported me throughout this journey from wholeheartedly. Thank you so much. Thank you.
That was a very inspiring story. What is one takeaway you want all of us to remember?
So I would say just never ever give up in your life. There are hundreds of things, hundreds of people around you from whom you can get inspired, from whom you can get motivated. And from there, your journey will start. You can follow your path, and ultimately, that will become your story. Thank you.
Thank you. See, one of the things that we do here at Salesforce, like I said, is we celebrate people, our most inspirational people. And one of the most coveted things that we want to give to people who inspire us is what we call our MVP hoodie. And I'd like to invite Kavindra for the golden hoodie.
And let's take a selfie.
This means a lot. This means a lot. OMG. Thank you so much, Salesforce. Thank you so much, everyone, for honoring me with this beautiful hoodie. This means a lot. I'm speechless right now, but this means a lot. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for your time. That was inspiring always, as always. Meaning, as Trailblazers, one of the things you're all trying to do is something You're trying to transform your end users' experiences. You're trying to build all of these. You're trying to help your customers participate in the digital revolution and transformation. But we know building such experiences is hard. And, sorry, I think I skipped the slide, but I just want to tell you that building experiences is hard. And one of the things that we have to do as developers, one more slide back if you can. One of the things you have to do is you have to build all these experiences yourself. You should build in security from ground up. You need to use the latest technologies like voice, mobile, blockchain, vision. You have to take care of privacy and identity. You have to build all the continuous integrations. Can you do that? Of course you can. This is a lot of infrastructure you can build, but it takes away from building innovation for your customers. So what have we done? That's what we have done. We said, let's build a Customer 360 platform which is trusted, so all your data we know is secure. It's smart. All the AI is built in as services that you can leverage. It is flexible, so you know you can customize, but also keep the customizations and not get logged in and the upgrades automatically happen. And it's sustainable. If you're building on the platform, you know you're building on a carbon neutral cloud. This is what we have done. So, and we have, by the way, this is the same platform we use to build our industry-leading apps, like sales, service, commerce, marketing. And that's what you get with the Salesforce platform. And not only do we do that, we also extend the platform with our strategic technology partners like Microsoft, AWS, Google, IBM, HP, Cisco, Dell, Ali. We do that because we want to support the industry together. We know we are not an isolated island in your companies. We have other technologies, and we partner very closely with all these companies so that we can move the industry forward. So what are we going to do next? We are going to tell you 3 stories. We are going to tell you 3 stories about Redbus, Costa, and Seat. We're going to show you how Redbus, using a lot of technologies like Flow, privacy, identity, and mobile, to build engaging experiences. We're going to use Costa, which is using AI and blockchain to build a sustainable supply chain, and how they're connecting all these devices as well as the data sets. And then we're going to use Seat as an example to show how they're managing their ALM, how they're building communities, and using technologies like voice and our sandboxes and things like that. That's what we are going to go next, and to explain how Redbus is using our platform to build engaging experiences. I would like to invite Savri Thayal, Senior Product Manager, to the stage. Savri.
Hi, everyone. I'm very excited to share with you all today some amazing new features that will enable you to build more connected apps faster than ever. So let's get started. We have Puneet with us today, and he's an amazing Trailblazer at the company Redbus. And Puneet's put it very well. People today don't just look at apps anymore. They look at engaging experiences. And engaging experiences start on mobile. At Dreamforce last month, we announced the general availability of the new Salesforce mobile application that enables you to build engaging and smart mobile experiences faster than ever before. The Salesforce mobile app has a brand new experience with an app launcher that enables you to load and use the very same applications that were available to you on the desktop. With features such as Einstein Voice Assistant and Einstein Analytics, it's also smart. And of course, it's customizable using both clicks and code. Now you can have Lightning Web Components everywhere, including on the Record homepage. Let's talk more about LWC. LWC, or Lightning Web Components, enable you to build engaging experiences using modern web standards. Since we announced LWC last year, we've seen some incredible momentum. In fact, since January, you have deployed over 5 million Lightning Web Components. At TrailheaDX this year, we open-sourced the LWC framework, and the NPM module is now being downloaded over 6,000 times a week. And we're not stopping there. As part of our continuous effort to support open source, I'm very excited to share that we're open sourcing Lightning-based components, that is our base component library built on top of LWC. What this means is that you can not just supercharge your own development workflow by using these components, but also extend existing components or collaborate with the community to contribute net new ones. To build engaging experiences, it's helpful to have a common UI framework like LWC. What's also helpful is to have a common backend stack to build these applications on. With that, I'm very excited to share Salesforce Evergreen that you can now use to build functions and microservices that are tightly integrated with your data in Salesforce using event-driven patterns and microservices architectures. You can now build these applications using more programming languages, including open source ones. And guess what? You can even use all the open source libraries available to you to supercharge your own development workflow. Since this is Salesforce technology, it seamlessly blends into our low-code tools. And guess what? It's also packageable for our ISV partners. All of this technology is powered by a brand new serverless runtime that is called Evergreen, that enables your applications to dynamically and horizontally scale to meet the incoming demands of your workload. Enough slides. Let's look at a demo. I'd like to welcome here Rennie and Satya, who'd be helping us with the demo today. Great. So the application we'll be looking at today is a consumer experience by the company Redbus. And today, we'll use this application to book ourselves a trip from Bangalore to Chennai. So let's go ahead and look at some options. The first one looks good. We'll pick that one. And it also looks like we can pick a seat on the bus today. L7 looks great. Let's go ahead and pay for the trip. And what you'll notice here is that the application is smart enough to automatically populate the payment information based off my customer profile in Salesforce. This looks great. We'll go ahead and pay for the trip. And once our payment is processed, you'll see we've got a great overview of the reservation that we just made, and also a little handy map that we can use to indicate the pickup location for the trip. Awesome. Now, this is a great experience, or great example of a consumer experience with Redbus. We'll switch to the browser to take a look at an employee experience. Imagine that I'm an employee at Redbus, and I'm using this application to manage all trips and reservations. I recently heard that some of these trips may have to be canceled because of predictions about harsh weather. Since it doesn't look like the very first trip is happening today, we'll go ahead and issue a cancellation on that one. And what happens when we issue a cancellation here is that we've got a process builder that's constantly watching for updates to the reservations. And when the status of a bus changes to canceled, this process builder goes ahead and emits a platform event called bus canceled. Now, at this point, we'd like to develop some logic that can subscribe to this platform event and go ahead and notify the customer that their trip has been canceled. Let's develop this logic today as an Evergreen function. We'll switch to VS Code to start doing some development. Great. Here we are in a standard DX project that we'd like to enhance with a function. We'll use the Salesforce extension to create a new Evergreen function. Now, function supports different languages, including Node, Java, and Apex. Since push notifications can be tricky, and NPM has some great libraries to help us today, we'll go ahead and pick Node for development. Let's give our function a friendly name. We'll call it handle bus cancellation. And now, this is the interesting part. Functions can be invoked either directly or by associating them with platform events. Today, we'd like to invoke our function when the platform event bus canceled is emitted. And what you'll see here is that when we do that, a functions directory gets generated within our DX project that contains a few different files. We look at package.json. As you know, this is the standard configuration point for Node developers to specify their NPM dependencies. We've already, in fact, got a reference to the Salesforce SDK in here provided to us so we can easily start communicating with our data back in Salesforce. For push notifications, we'll add another dependency to this list. Great. Let's switch to index.js. The first thing you'll notice in this file is that we've been given this template with a function signature that enables us to get right to the task at hand and start writing the logic. The signature contains a few different arguments. We've got the event argument that gives us information from the incoming payload that we're expected to process within our function code. What we also have is the context argument that gives us a single secure connection back to Salesforce. To start writing our code, the first thing we'll do is import the library we just added. And we can go ahead and write some code. Let's explore the code. The first thing we're doing here is to use the context argument to run a SOCL query over our bus trips in Salesforce. We'll then go ahead and use the response from that query to go ahead and construct a push notification message that we'll then send to the user's device. This looks great. Now, we've got our code, but what's really cool about functions is that you can use the SFTX CLI to deploy them. And if you look at the commands that are available to us, you'll notice that you can not just manage all your function resources using the command line, but even run your functions locally to debug and test against data in your Scratch orgs. What's also cool is that we can use the force source deploy command to publish our functions in conjunction with the rest of the components in our DX project. That's the command we use to deploy today. And now that the function's published, it's ready to run at high scale in the cloud. Let's go to the browser to see our function in action. Since it doesn't look like the Bangalore to Chennai trip's happening today, we'll go ahead and cancel that one. Let's switch to the phone. What's expected to happen here is that since we've issued a cancellation, a function got invoked that sent a push notification to the user's device, telling them that the bus has been canceled. Great. I want to show you another demo. Let's fast forward a few days later. Imagine that this time I'm a support agent at Redbus. And Redbus provides this great experience powered by Flow to enable their employees to manage any incidents and cases. Let's imagine that I received a request from one of the customers requesting refund for their canceled trip. I've already verified all of the information in this application, and I'm ready to go ahead and resolve the customer's case. Let's say we'll compensate the customer today with a reward voucher. Looks good, and we can apply a good discount. Next. Finally, we'll go ahead and verify the means of delivery for this voucher. And what's expected to happen here is that when we click Finish, that voucher will be sent to the customer over WhatsApp, and a copy of it will also remain here in Salesforce. So, Rennie, let's go ahead and click Finish. And right here, we see a confirmation telling us that message has indeed been sent. And notice that we've got a new attachment. If you look at the attachment, you'll see an image of the voucher itself, which looks great. But what really happened here underneath the covers? Well, when we clicked Finish, a function got invoked that dynamically generated this voucher image using information from the Salesforce case record. Let's switch to VS Code to take a look at the actual code behind this function. First thing you'll notice in this function is that the signature looks very similar to the one we saw earlier. This one's a little bit different in that it's got the GIMP library for image manipulation and the send attachment method from WhatsApp. If you look at the function code, you'll notice the first thing we're doing is to grab the voucher code and the customer's phone number from the incoming payload, that is the event argument, and then going ahead and using that code to dynamically generate an image from the template. We'll then go ahead and send that image, which is the voucher image, to the customer using WhatsApp, and we'll also create a new S object in Salesforce to retain a copy of it. Notice carefully that we're using the industry standard unit of work construct to streamline all the updates we're making back to Salesforce using the Composite API underneath the covers. Now, we've got our function code, but how did our function actually get invoked? Well, if you remember correctly, we had an employee experience that was powered by Flow, calling our function. And if you go back to the browser to look at the actual sequence powering our application, you'll notice a series of screens all in sequence leading up to the invocation of a Evergreen function. That's true. We're invoking a Node.js backend application from within a declarative tool in the Lightning UI. You can also invoke functions from Lightning Web Components, from Process Builder, or even from within Apex code. Isn't that amazing? Well, that's the power of Evergreen and functions. Back to the slides. If you'd like to get more information about these amazing new features, or check out the new trail mix we made available for you, please follow the link on the screen. With that, back to you, Srini.
Savri, that was great. We saw how Redbus uses the platform, both declarative and programmatic tools with Evergreen functions to build very engaging experiences. Next, we'd like to share the story of Costa sunglasses and to see how they connect different systems and devices using blockchain and other technologies. And to do that, I'd like to welcome Christoph Konrads, our VP of Developer Relations, to the stage. Christoph.
All right. Thank you, Srini. And hello, TDX India. I'm really excited to share with you. Yes, hello. I'm really excited to share with you some incredible innovations that will let you build connected experiences fast. And I'm really excited to do it through the story of a customer, Costa Sunglasses. They have an incredible sustainability story. And to learn about it a little more, let's watch a film.
Discarded fishing nets are 4 times more harmful to marine life than all other forms of ocean plastic combined.
This idea of untangling our oceans really came from, looking at these fishing nets and finding out, okay, where can we make a solution?
What we came up with was an idea to recycle it into higher value, positive products. The fishermen now start collecting those nets back at its end of life. The nets then get recycled back into pellets. And those pellets are the same form as virgin plastic for injection molding purposes. Taking our plastic and making sunglasses that you can use to enjoy the ocean just fits so well with what we're really all about.
The people wearing the glasses become the agents of change. Like, they're the ones that are able to tell people the story that, hey, these were made from waste from fishing nets, but we can all be a part of the solution for a cleaner ocean.
All right. Yes, this is really a great story. Costa produces these super cool sunglasses using recycled fishing nets. And they manage their supply chain, and they connect with their partners and with their customers using the Customer 360 platform. Now, how do you create these connected experiences? Well, oftentimes it starts with APIs. Now, at Salesforce, as you may know, we have a lot of APIs. So many that there are some of them that you may not even know exist. And that's too bad, because they are really powerful. So today, I'm really excited to introduce you to the new Salesforce API portal that lets you discover all the APIs from Salesforce across all the clouds in one centralized place. And you have access to the documentation right there, which is great. But there is even better. You can actually test all these endpoints from all these APIs right there in the portal. And because it has built-in forums, you can actually engage with the product teams and with the community. Now, APIs are totally awesome, but it's still work. It's still work to connect systems using APIs. And sometimes you would like to integrate systems at a higher level of abstraction, with a higher level of productivity. And this is exactly why we created the Customer 360 Data Manager that allows you to connect Salesforce applications, so that you know that this customer in Service Cloud, for example, and this customer in Commerce Cloud are actually the same, and that you can create a single view, a complete view of that customer, a single source of truth. And for your customer, that means a richer, a more integrated experience. Now, connecting Salesforce applications is great, but why would we stop there? We know that some of your data may not always be in Salesforce, and that is OK. Imagine for a second, imagine a world where all the vendors across all their systems would use the same data model. That would make your integrations a lot easier, wouldn't it? Well, that's exactly what we are working on with great partners like AWS, and it's called the Cloud Information Model. And it's the first enterprise standard for easy integration of cloud application. Now, the great thing is that it's open source. That means that anybody can join and anybody can contribute. And that allows you, developers, to create more reliable integrations faster so that you can innovate faster. Now, there is one more approach that you can use to connect to your customers in a trusted way, and that is blockchain. Now, let's be honest. Blockchain can be a little intimidating and a little hard to implement, and that is exactly why we recently introduced Salesforce Blockchain. Because with Salesforce Blockchain, you can create blockchain applications and networks with clicks. And because it's built on the Salesforce platform, you can leverage that platform. You can create a blockchain application using all the tools that you like. You can use Flow, you can use Lightning Web Components, Einstein, and you can engage with your partners easily, because any application can connect to the blockchain using APIs. Now, I love this slide. It looks really good, but what I really like is a cool demo that will show you all these great features in action. So let's go to the demo, and please welcome back Renee and Satya. Yeah. All right. So, as I mentioned before, Costa manages their supply chain using blockchain. Let's see how they do it. So we are in setup here in Blockchain Builder. And the first thing I need to do is to create a blockchain application. That is super easy. The only thing you need to specify here is a name for the blockchain application. We'll call it supply chain. The next step is going to be to define your network of partners. These are all the people you want to collaborate with. So here we have Costa, that's us. Then we have Bureau, that's the production partner. And then finally we have Sunglass Planet, that's a reseller partner. Okay, great. So the next step now is going to be to define a distributed data model that all these partners will collaborate on. Now, if you look at this, the good news is that this should look super familiar. It looks just like creating a data model in regular Salesforce. You create a bunch of objects. Here for my supply chain, I have product, I have production order. And then if I drill down, if I click product, for example, all I have to do here is to define a set of fields and relationships. That's it. It's really the same thing. The only difference is that your blockchain data model is immutable. So in other words, once you write a value to a record, you can't change that value. So it's trusted. You know that nobody can actually tamper with that value. And that's really it. We have a blockchain application. So now let's see it in action. And we will start in the Bureau application. Now remember, Bureau is that production partner. These are the people who collect the fishing nets in the oceans and then transform them into pellets. So let's pretend here that we are going to create a new batch of pellets. So we'll click New Production. And here what I have to do is specify the sourcing. So the fishing nets that we are using to produce that batch of pellets, we'll choose that one, that's fine. And then we'll say that we create 100 pounds of these pellets. And now we click Save. And just like that, that record is written to the blockchain. And in fact, if I click that record, on the right, I can start seeing some provenance information. Provenance is just origin. We can trace these pellets back to the fishing nets. Great. Now, these pellets are going to be sold to Costa. So let's take a look at the Costa application. So they are on Salesforce, and here we look at all the great sunglasses that they sell. Now, there is one collection in particular that I find very cool, and that collection is called Untangled. So let's select that. That collection is actually produced using these recycled fishing nets. Now, speaking about production, how do they produce these sunglasses? Well, let's take a look at the production side of their application. So here you have all their production records. So let's say that we are creating a new batch of sunglasses. Let's click New, and here I will select Pescador, which is one model of these sunglasses, and we'll pretend we create 200 of them. And we'll click Save. And once again, that record is going to be written in the blockchain. And on the right, you see that I have some origin information, but not that much. That is because we didn't specify the materials that we actually use to produce these sunglasses. So Renee, let's do that. Let's click Add Materials here. And here I will specify a batch of pellets that I use to produce these sunglasses. And we'll select the one we just created in the Brio application. Let's select it and click Save. And now you see that that is written to the blockchain, and now I have that provenance information. I can trace my sunglasses all the way to the fishing nets that they used to be. That is super cool, and it's also important. Why? Because customers today are getting increasingly mindful of the origin of the products they buy. In fact, if you look at some app stores, you will start seeing applications that really help customers track the origin of the products they buy. So let's switch to the phone, and let's take a look at one of these applications. So this one is called Provenance Tracker. And here, I can enter the serial number of my product, or I can scan a barcode, but today we'll do even better. At the bottom left there, you have an RFID tag option, which will allow me to scan an RFID tag that's embedded in these sunglasses. So Renee, let's click that. And that experience should look familiar. This is exactly what you get when you pay with Apple Pay or Google Pay. So now we're getting ready. Renee, do you have these sunglasses? Yes? OK, let's scan them. All right, and just like that, now you can see that these sunglasses used to be fishing nets floating in the oceans that were transformed into pellets by Brio and then transformed into sunglasses by Costa and finally sold to Sunglass Planet. Now, as developers in the audience, I'm sure you wonder, OK, how do I build an application like that? And specifically, how do I access the blockchain data? And the answer is, of course, using APIs. So let's switch back to the browser to look at that Salesforce API portal that I introduced before. So here you go. You have access to all the APIs across all clouds, all the APIs that Salesforce has to offer. So for blockchain, we will click Platform. When I click Platform, I see all the platform APIs. And here, of course, I'm going to look for a blockchain. So we will click Blockchain. And now on the left here, I'm going to see all the endpoints that are available for the blockchain API. And specifically, I'm going to look for an endpoint called Filter. There we have it. And then you see in the middle, you see the documentation for that endpoint. So you know everything you need to know to actually use that endpoint. But oftentimes, the best way to learn about an endpoint is to actually test it. And you can do that right here on the left, right in the Salesforce API portal. So let's take a look at that. You can do it either using a mock service, which is great, but even better, you can actually do it against a production server. So let's do that. Let's choose a production server. Then the last thing I need to do here is specify a list of fields. and then a query, which in this case is going to be the serial number of these sunglasses, and we'll click Send. So we are really testing that API endpoint. And right here, you can see the exact same information that we saw on the phone in a nicely formatted JSON response, all the way back to the fishing nets. As a developer, I'm really excited because that's going to make me really more productive. In fact, I'm so excited that I want to do it again. And Renee, why don't we try again, in this case with Einstein API. So let's take a look at some Einstein APIs, and we'll do some image recognition here. So there is an endpoint called predict. Let's select that one. And again, in the middle, you see all you need to know to actually use that endpoint. But what we want to do again is to test it against a production server. Now, to do image recognition, the parameter is not going to be text-based. It's actually an image. And yes, you can select an image right here from the API portal. Let's do it. And we'll select a nice pair of sunglasses. There you go. They look great. We will click Open. And once again, we will click Send. And just like that, we see that Einstein is 97% sure that these are Pescador sunglasses. This API portal is really going to be awesome for productivity. Now, fast forward a little bit. Let's say that you buy these sunglasses, either in a store or online on the e-commerce website powered by Commerce Cloud. So Costa offers a limited lifetime warranty, and they use Service Cloud to actually manage cases related to these sunglasses. So let's take a look at a case, and what you see here on the right is the history of all the products that that customer ever bought on Commerce Cloud. Yes, right here, right in Service Cloud, and that's going to be super useful for the agent to be able to handle that case. Now, how did we bring the Commerce Cloud data right here in Service Cloud? Well, let's take a look. We actually use Customer 360 Data Manager. Renee, let's take a look at that. So here you see on the left, you have the standard contact object in Salesforce. If we expand that, all I had to do was to actually map all these different fields to a standard representation of a customer that comes from the cloud information model. And then on the other side, you would do the exact same thing. You would map the Commerce Cloud representation of a customer to the same individual. And that is how you create a single view of a customer. And whether you are using Customer 360 Data Manager, blockchain, or APIs, that's how you create these great connected experiences. So let's go back to the slide, because to learn more about it, we created a nice trail mix. If you go through it, you will learn all about all these features that we discussed today. And with that, back to you, Srini.
We have seen how you can build engaging and connected experiences. But as developers, we all know, just building the first time, that's the easy part. Then you have to manage it across the entire life cycle. To show you how C8 manages the application lifecycle, I'd like to invite Nitala Menezes to the stage. Nitala.
Hello, TrailheaDX India. I am so excited to be here. In fact, it is a personal honor to be here in Bangalore, because my mother actually grew up in Bangalore. So, hello to all the Bangaloreans. I'll have to say, we've been here for a few days, and my favorite part about being back in India is that I have been able to have an idli and a dosa every morning for breakfast, a real South Indian breakfast. And it's been awesome. So I get to talk to you today about something that I'm really passionate about, and that is making the app development process easier to manage, more fun, and most importantly, faster. And to do that, I want to first talk about someone who has been very inspirational, Mahesh Soni. Mahesh is actually here in the audience. He works at a tire company that I think many of you may be familiar with, Seat. And he has said something to me that I think really captures the challenge that many of us face. And that is simply that the best apps are never done. And I think we all know that to be true. When you build enterprise applications, you have to be responsive to the business, and that means being iterative. But we have a challenge. How do we move fast and, being in the enterprise, move fast and not break things? Because we have to take compliance and security into consideration. Well, I think that the way in which most of us start that process is typically on our own personal machines, doing quick iteration on our laptops. Which is why I am so excited to introduce to you the local development server for Lightning Web Components. This is going to be a game changer. I hear some claps. It's good to clap. It is good. And if we have a demo out there, you should definitely go see it. But Lightning, so local development means that you can actually do all of your iteration locally to your machine. It'll render instantly because everything is local. And in the off chance that there's an error in your software, we've actually also built in some rich error handling that'll make it easier to troubleshoot and resolve those issues. Now, many of us will then take that local development that we've done and put it into a sandbox. How many of you in this room has ever had to wait for a sandbox to be created? Maybe an afternoon. I have a large org. Sometimes I've had to wait overnight. No more. We are now introducing Lightning Full Sandboxes. Lightning Full Sandboxes are true mirrors of production. All your customer data, all of your metadata. Yeah, I am so excited about this. There's a few things to do. One, they create in just a few minutes. I swear, they create in just a few minutes. You will have a full sandbox. Second, you can refresh them on demand. That's right, refreshes on demand. And if you spend some time setting up your sandbox, you'll be able to quickly clone that sandbox in just a few minutes. It's going to be a game changer. Now, the thing with sandboxes is that they have all of your production data, which means they have all of your customer data in them. That's great, but sometimes it's the kind of information that developers don't need to have access to, which is why we are building, I'm so excited to introduce, Salesforce Data Mask. Salesforce Data Mask will do the work for you to hide sensitive data. I know many of us have done post-copy scripting or manually or scrubbing data from the UI. With Salesforce Data Mask, you'll be able to do the masking process during the create process of a sandbox. It's really, really great, and I can't wait to show it to you in the demo. Now, protecting data in sandboxes and test environments is really wonderful. But we also need to protect data in production. And historically, we've done that through event monitoring. But event monitoring is logs-based, which means you can only be reactive and not proactive. That's changing too. We now have real-time event monitoring leveraging our platform events bus. And that means that you'll be able to proactively prevent unwanted behaviors, making your orgs more compliant and up-to-date with your security regulations. It's really, really awesome. Now, I could talk to you forever with slides, but I know that the best way to show you what we're building is to go into a demo. And I'm excited to have Satya and Renee here with me to go through that process. So let's do that. Now, the demo that we're going to go into is inspired by the work that Mahesh and his team and everyone at SIAT has been doing. But it's also a little bit aspirational, so bear with us a little bit. So here we are in the SIAT Service Console. What you're looking at here is the contact details of a reseller and then a photo. That photo has been uploaded by the reseller, and it's been now analyzed by Einstein. What Einstein has done is that it's identified the tire type, the defect, and whether or not that tire defect is covered by the warranty. If it is covered by the warranty, then there's a little green line right there that identifies for the agent that the claim can be accepted. What we've heard from agents is that that little green line isn't super obvious, so let's do a little quick iterative development and make it better. Let's go to the local development server where we can edit this component. So here we are. First thing, we're on local host. Everything is running on your machine. Second, we'll actually see a list of the Lightning Web components that we're able to edit. We're going to select claim review because that's the one that we want to modify. So here, just like that, instantly, we see that component on our screen. It's awesome. What we're going to do now is make some iterative changes to this component. And the first thing I want to do is edit the HTML. So Renee, let's go to the IDE. And we're just going to take that grid, modify that green line and add a check mark. Just make it a little bit more visually compelling. We'll hit save, and then we'll go back to the local development server. Now, what's really cool is because it's all happening locally, it's just checking the file system for changes, and it'll render automatically. No pushing to an org, no waiting for a refresh. It just does it all automatically, which is what you see. We now have that great green check mark. Now, that was an HTML edit, but sometimes you want to edit JavaScript. So let's go and change the title of this card, which currently says Einstein Vision. And we'll go into the IDE again, and we're going to edit the JavaScript and change the title. We're going to change it to Claim Review, because that's much more compelling. We'll hit save, and we'll go back to the local development server. It auto-refreshes. It already says Claim Review. So what I love about this is that in just a few minutes, we were able to make some quick iterations to our application, to our component, and we're able to see them. And I know for me, I like to see those changes as quickly as possible, because it just makes the process much easier. Now, the next step would be to go into a sandbox and test these changes more broadly. But before we do that, let's look at data mask and see how we can protect private data. So here we have a data mask configuration already set up. We'll dig into it. So with data mask, you're able to apply the mask to either fields or objects. And we're going to select the contact object. That's exciting. So you're able to apply it to fields or objects, and we're actually going to go in and select the contact object, because that has typically the most private information, like email addresses and phone numbers. When you go into the object, you're going to see an alpha-sorted list of all of the fields associated with that contact object. Now, there are 3 ways in which you can apply data mask. The first is to anonymize the data, and that just replaces the word with random characters. So a name like Raj would become 168 or something like that. The next way is to pseudo-anonymize, which is a very complicated way of saying that you're going to find something similar to replace that word with. So essentially what you're going to do is define a library of terms. You're going to select a category, and it's going to deliver that one of those words that's related to the type of thing that you're trying to mask. Makes it very simple, but that way you also have relevant data in the UI. And the third way is to just simply delete the data, and it replaces it with an empty data set. Once you've set up a data mask, you then have to decide how you want to apply it to the sandbox. Now, there are 2 ways in which you can do that. One, you can run it against an existing sandbox, or you can invoke that data mask at the refresh or create process. And that's the way we're going to do it. So let's go to the setup UI and create a new sandbox. Now, my favorite part of creating a new sandbox is that we get to give it a name. And we're going to call this one TDX Lotus, because I love all the lotus flowers that we have here in India. So once we assign the name, we'll next have to pick the type of sandbox that we want to use. And in this case, we're going to pick lightning full sandboxes, because those quick refreshes, the way in which it generates in just a few minutes, and the fact that we can clone it make it so useful. And the next step will be to actually invoke the data mask. And to do that, we're just going to apply an Apex class called data mask. Now, lightning full sandboxes really do just take a few minutes to create, but in a Keynote, we don't actually have a few minutes to wait, which is why, luckily, Satya and Renee pre-baked one for us this morning, and it's waiting for us to go and look at it. Before we go into the sandbox, though, I want to take a look at production, just to see what the data looks like before it's been masked. So here we are in the CIOT Service Console with actual live production data. Not real production data, but what it would actually look like. What you see up here in the upper left-hand corner is the reseller who's uploaded the photo. His name is Rohit Mehta, and you would see his real phone number and his real email address. Again, information that we don't need to have in a developer environment. Let's see what this page actually looks like in a sandbox. So here we are on the sandbox, and if we look at the upper left-hand corner, you'll see that the name Rohit Mehta has been replaced with a pseudonym, Ricky Buster. It still has the format of a name, but now it's anonymized. The phone number has been deleted, and the email address has been replaced with random characters, but it retains the look and feel of an email address, so it's still useful in context. That's awesome. Now, what we also see on here is that that little green line is back. And that's because we have not yet pushed our changes to the sandbox. So Renee, let's go to VS Code so we can push the changes that we made locally into the sandbox. We're actually going to use the same command that Asavri talked about earlier, force source deploy. We're actually using the CLI here. And when we push that, we'll see the update in the sandbox, but we're going to have to refresh it. So we'll go back to the browser and refresh. And boom, we have a checkbox. This is so much better. And it was a quick and easy way in which we could make these iterations. So now we've been able to quickly iterate, we've been able to mass data, and we've all been able to do this in a lightning full sandbox, which is awesome. But I also want to show you about some of the ways in which we protect data in production using transaction security policies. Let's go to setup. Great, here we are in setup. We have two policies available here. The first is block content query, and the second is opportunity report review. Let's click into block content query so we can see how this works. So what's great is that this is a declarative builder. With just a simple set of clicks, you can define the conditions under which you want an action to be taken. Here we've said whenever a query is contact, we want to take an action, which we define on the next screen. So we'll click on Actions. And for this one, we want to block the action from happening. And in addition, we want to notify the admin user by email and in-app notification. Great. So now this policy is in place. Let's see it in action. Renee, let's go back to VS Code and run a query against the contact in that org. What we expect to see is that we should return a blocked result. It won't give us information about that contact because we don't have the permissions. And boom, we're actually blocked. We can't make the query. Now, we had another transaction policy that was related to reports. So let's go to the reports page in this browser, and we'll take a look. So here we are looking at our open opportunities reports. We'll try and run that report, and we should also be blocked. And that's because in the back end, it's leveraging the API report, the reports API. So anywhere where you access the API, it'll block you. And again, here we are. We're blocked as well. OK, so this is the fun part. We're using the reports API. Anywhere that we use the reports API, we should get blocked. Now, what I hear from many people is that they like to make questions to smart speakers, not to browsers, and that they want to have interactive experiences. And so we have a new builder, Einstein Voice Skills, where you can pose a question to a smart speaker. So let's pull up the smart builder, the voice builder. So here it is. We have a simple query here where we'll ask the smart speaker to return a result of open opportunities. And what I'm excited about is that we have a one-of-a-kind demo with an Einstein voice speaker. Renee, can you ask Einstein to share that open opportunities report with you?
Absolutely. Hey, Einstein. Can you please read my report about open opportunities?
Hey, Renee, a transaction security policy prevents me from getting the answer to that question.
It's working. Back to you.
Thanks, Renee. It does look like you have a new best friend in Einstein. Well, if we go back to the slides, we have a Trail Max for you, so you can learn more about all of these amazing tools that we've created. And all of us will be around. It's been a real honor to speak with you. Back to you, Srini.
So we have seen how to build engaging experiences, how to build connected experiences, and how to manage your life cycle. But that was just a sneak peek of the amazing technology and innovations we are bringing forward as part of the Customer 360 platform. You have a lot more to discover and learn. With the Winter 20 release, there are hundreds of features that you can go deep dive, and you can go to the URL sforce.co/winter20 to learn more. We also have built the Get Started on Trailhead, which with all the demos and all the trail mixes that you can do. So look forward, spend a lot of time in the demo keywords, campgrounds. We have a lot of everything you saw here. You also have demos there. Get your hands dirty. Use Trailhead, the most important enabling tool to get and take part in the Salesforce ecosystem and the economy. And wish you all the best, and have a great rest of the session. Thank you.